Hey, this is Adam Huxama from ProjectionHub, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through our vet clinic financial projection template and ultimately answer the question, how much profit can a single veterinary clinic make? And so the first thing that I want to mention here is that anything highlighted in blue, any cell highlighted in blue is an assumption that you can change throughout this template. And so the first thing we have here is we're assuming for your startup vet clinic that you're going to have to put in some personal investment yourself. So we have a $65,000 personal investment here. We say that was invested in month 0, meaning kind of the very first month or at the beginning before the clinic has even opened. We have the ability to put in accounts receivable terms, inventory assumptions, jumping into the fixed assets, which is really a big chunk of your startup costs. We found, based on our research, that the average startup cost for a vet clinic ranges from $541,000 to $901,000, and that is broken down between 3 primary categories: your equipment and furniture, which we can enter in here, and then whether you're going to, build a new building, buy a building, or renovate a building, that's going to really change how much your startup costs will be for your facility. And we have in here $390,000 as a starting point, and that is assuming that you have a clinic with 1 veterinarian, with 2 exam rooms at around 1,000 square feet each, and then about 1,000 square feet of waiting area and office space. So a total clinic size of 3,000 square feet, and a renovation cost based on our research of $130 per square foot. Now that can just dramatically change based on where you're located in the country or in the world. And so you really need to figure out from an architect near you, what would it cost to renovate or do new construction for a 3,000 square foot veterinarian clinic in your area, and then enter that number in here. And once you have that in, you'll also you maybe will be trying to get a loan to help fund some of these startup costs. And so you have the ability to add a loan in here. We have a $475,000 loan entered in here by default. Now jumping over to our revenue projection. So in order to project revenue, we took a couple different approaches. Based on our just Google research, we found that one veterinarian should be able to generate around $550,000 in annual revenue. But we didn't want to just assume just off the bat that you're going to be able to do that. And so we wanted to build out the assumptions to help you determine, how do we actually get to that $550,000? And so we assume here that you'll have some advertising budget. Here we have $2,000 a month, and then there'll be a cost to acquire patients. You also have kind of word of mouth patients as well. Ultimately, that will give you your number of regular patients. And then here you have the ability to add your different services. And we did some research based on a survey from Live Oak Bank that provided what are the common services that are provided and what percentage of total revenue each of those services represent. And so that's how we have this filled out to start with. And then this $183 here is the average spent on vet services for cats and dogs in the US. And so it's a little more for dogs, a little less for cats, but averaged out to be around $183. And so we are able to break down or assume what's the average annual amount spent per animal for these different services based on that Live Oak Bank data and that total annual spend survey. So that's how we have this filled out right now. You can change any of this, even this gray area here. You can overwrite this if you wanted to change this. You can change the percentages here as well. You can change the cost of goods sold amount as well for each service, but this where we came up with this cost of goods sold percentage is again from the Live Oak Bank survey, which said average cost of goods sold percentage was 21.4% of revenue, and so we just took you can see 21.4 up here times the dollar amount in there to come up with your cost of goods sold. So all of that is going to help you calculate your projected revenue by service and cost of goods sold. We have our other expenses, operating expenses here listed, and you can add additional expenses here as you consider your specific plan. One thing I would point out is that you can either put an expense in as a fixed expense or a percentage of total revenue. And so here we have these credit card fees. We're assuming that some of your patients will pay by, some of your customers will pay by credit card, but probably not all of them. So, for example, your credit card company might charge 3%, but I wouldn't put 3% in there because this is a percentage of total revenue. So that's why we have 2% in there, assuming that not everyone will pay with credit cards, some will pay with cash, and so you won't have that expense. And then the last thing here is your salaries page. Now, we did research and we have comments in here citing those different sources for salaries for these different positions. So these are kind of a standard. One veterinarian office might have a vet assistant, receptionist, and a technician. We have the technician here starting in month 13. So when you start out and you're not at full capacity yet, you may not need all of these positions, and so you can change the start date or start month for any of these positions. Now, the one thing I'll mention here is that we don't have a salary in for you, the owner. We also didn't put in an owner's draw dollar amount, but you'll be able to see here on the next page what the projected profits are based on the assumptions that we have in there, and ultimately what you'd be able to hopefully take home yourself. So to start with, I think this is a pretty good baseline because based on our research, one veterinarian might be able to generate, should be able to do at least $550,000 in annual revenue, kind of on average, and high performing clinics can do quite a bit more than that. And so based on these 5-year projections, you start out at $300,000 here. So you're not at full capacity, which would make sense in your startup year. But by year 2, you're getting closer to that capacity, and bringing on that additional staffing can help you get up to really a high performing clinic by years 4 and 5 is the expectation. And you can see the net income, and ultimately this is what would be available to you as the owner to be able to take home. So there's a number of other charts and tables and graphs that you can use here in, whether you're trying to raise maybe some investment to open your clinic or trying to get a loan. Some good analysis here for you. And then there is an income statement, a 5-year income statement projection, cash flow projection, balance sheet, and then 5-year but by month income statement, cash flow, and balance sheet. So there you have it. The answer, I guess, for you is based on these projections, we are assuming that you could generate a net income of $187,000 or a profit of $187,000 by year 5 in your veterinarian clinic. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment in the video below, or reach out to us directly at support@projectionhub.com, and we'd be happy to try to help. Thanks.